Hi, Mark Werwa here in the foyer of the House of Commons with Member of Parliament Pierre Poilievre, who is the Shadow Minister of Finance. And Pierre, you've been asking a lot of important and very basic, simple questions of the government, and they're refusing to answer them. And now there's a concern across Canada that I'm hearing that there's a cover-up, a carbon tax cover-up. And what is that question you've been asking?
Pretty simple, Mark. How much will the carbon tax cost? The government has a bill before the House of Commons to implement its budget, which would empower the finance minister to impose a brand new tax on anything that uses fossil fuel. So your gas prices, your home heating, all of the goods that are transported by truck or train will become more expensive. This will collect billions of dollars in government revenue. And of course, the cost of that tax will cascade throughout the entire economy in the form of higher consumer prices. So I've simply asked the government to tell Canadians how much this tax will cost the average family. They have the data. The government has calculated the cost, but they have covered it up. They released internal memos to me that I acquired through access to information where all the numbers are blacked out. So they have the numbers, they've blacked them out. They know that you're going to pay more for almost everything you buy, but they don't want you to know how much more, and that's the carbon tax cover-up.
So, Pierre, they don't want us to know how much it's going to cost the average Canadian family, and you've asked that numerous times, and they're refusing to answer, and they know how much it'll cost. Do they also know whether or not the carbon tax will be effective at reducing greenhouse gas emissions?
Well, they have made some claims that the carbon tax will reduce, according to their estimates, greenhouse gas emissions, but nowhere near enough to reach the targets that they have set for themselves in the so-called Paris Accord. Now, this raises suspicions that their carbon tax will go up even more than they're admitting right now, and that's another one of the reasons why we're asking them to end this cover-up. Tell us what the tax will cost.
So it's really impossible for Canadians to buy into this plan, this Liberal plan, if they're not being honest and transparent.
Right.
They're covering it up. And so I want to thank you for your good work on this. And are you going to keep asking the government?
We are, and there are a number of tools in our toolkit. I've asked the Information Commissioner, who's responsible for forcing governments to release documents in its possession, to investigate, and the Commissioner has agreed, so that investigation is now underway. Finance Canada is under investigation by the Information Commissioner because of this cover-up. We're hoping that the Information Commissioner will use all of her tools to compel the release of that data so every Canadian will know what they're paying for this brand new tax.
Pierre, thank you for what you're doing. Keep up the good work and protecting Canada and Canadians. And Canadian seniors on fixed income are really outraged about this. In British Columbia, the prices keep going up. Gas is now approaching, well, it's over $1.60 a litre. Wow. In British Columbia. It's hurting Canadians, and they want to know what it'll cost. And you're the one asking that question. Keep up the good work.
We'll keep asking the tough questions, and I know that you were the MP who exposed the fact that this government is going to collect the GST on the carbon tax. So you'll be paying a tax on a tax when this comes into effect, and you were the one that forced them to admit that fact, which is another reason why we need to keep drilling down to learn what other costs that they are hiding from Canadians to end this carbon tax cover-up.
Thank you, Pierre.
Good to be with you.